Hello, beautiful souls. Lori Rising here. Welcome to the Cancer full moon on January 6th, 2023 at 6:08 p.m. Eastern. Welcome to the calendar new year of 2023. And if you are listening to this video prior to that calendar new year, I hope that you are absolutely dropping into and enjoying our time out of time. After the winter solstice is really a time for us to go dark, to go quiet, deeply internal, to be reflective for renewal and regeneration. We really want to open up to the soul growth that's moving through so that we can plant those seeds of intention in what we want to see come to fruition in our life as we move towards the astrological new year, which comes at the spring equinox. It's very different than how our culture pushes us out and forward into resolutions. That word, just to me, even the energy feels so finite. And if we are anything, we are absolutely infinite. We are here to continually evolve. So remember, planting seeds is maybe a great way to feel the energy of what wants to grow, what's going to move towards the light. What's going to find that sun and that nourishment? What do you want to water? Because even with the seeds that don't continue to grow in our lives, they may plant ideas, information, energies in other ways that become something towards what we are moving in. Because if you look at a garden, even the things that don't make it to the full blossoming phase become compost and become nutrients for the new seeds that are going to come through. And this is where I'll always take you back to where I do not believe that there's such a thing as failure. There's more information. There's ways to pivot, and there's guidance from the universe and our innate source energy that helps us move quicker in definitive ways, I'll say it that way, when it comes through intensely, like what we may have in the past deemed as failure. So much to talk about today. But first of all, if we are new to the channel, welcome. Like I said, I'm Lori Rising. We're so stoked to have you here. Please definitely subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you're alerted whenever I drop a video. And when we hit 1K, I'm going to be giving away a free 90-minute reading. Go check out my website just to start to drop into the power and the movement that these readings have created for people that are feeling very stuck in their lives. It really is the best time to reach out and move into those divine co-creations with me and with our guides and universal source energy to get the wheels turning and to really start to uncover those paths that we might not be seeing in the energy that we're marinating in during a certain time. So what do we do in these videos? As an intuitive medium, a trauma-informed healing artist, a ritual and embodiment guide, and really your biggest cheerleader into your majesty and divinity, I tap into the energies through my channel that want to be heard at this time, the most dominant energies. I tap in and feel what's going down, and that's what I share here. Definitely stick around to the end because we do an oracle card pull that really brings us definitive ways to work with these energies and what we're moving towards, and they're always very powerful. So if you'd like to know more about me and my offerings and programs, free and paid, head on over to my website at therawandwildhearts.com. So much goodness. I would love to bring you into this beautiful sacred circle that continues to grow in my field. Okay, let's talk about the Cancer full moon. First of all, I just want to say welcome to my new office space. I am now on my land that I am stewarding for the time being, and my home is coming together beautifully now in Capricorn season. So I wanted to highlight that with the Capricorn energies because we have a lot going down right now. We've got the sun, Venus, Mercury, and Pluto all in Capricorn. Yeah. And if you've been paying attention, we've been through intense Capricorn energies the last couple of years because it really is, especially with Pluto, how do we grow or die is what it really comes down to. Like Pluto wants us to dismantle what's not working and make it much more efficient, much more streamlined in a way to expand in our best self is what it really comes down to. So here I am in my new office space. It feels so good. And I am stoked to debut it right here in this video for the Cancer full moon. Now, on January 1st, we are going through the Pluto and Venus conjunction in Capricorn. So I just wanted to mention that because it's very close to the Mercury retrograde happening right now. So when I talk about this time out of time, the astrology literally is begging us to be quiet. It's begging us to go within, right? We've got the Mercury retrograde that just began on the 29th. We've got the Mars retrograde that is going on forever, is what it feels like, right? Good news, it is stationing direct on January 12th. That's coming. Yeah. Mercury and Mars retrogrades are very linked up because the Mercury retrograde is the ruler of the Mars retrograde. So as we move towards Mercury stationing direct on January 18th, I'm pretty sure, and so we will be direct by the 19th, you're going to feel a big lightness. You're going to feel a big momentum moving forward. And then Uranus stations direct, I believe, on January 22nd. So by January 23rd, it is all planets direct. It is all energy go forward. We are going to be speeding up kind of at light speed because we're now moving from more light than density in our cells because of the deep Capricorn energies we've been working with these past couple of years. I told my good friend this morning, I was a little nervous about the Pluto-Venus conjunction in Capricorn because of the Venus retrograde in Capricorn that we went through last January. I remember feeling like I had amnesia, like I couldn't even remember who I was, what I was about, and why I was here. And so that's very vivid, right? Those energies hit really hard. And of course, it's all unfolded and worked out. Here I am, and here we are. So I just wanted to highlight that a little bit to be aware of the intensity, but it's only for a day, right? Like it's real quick, and it might just want to shore up something that was a loose end from before. So let yourself be slow right now. Like really intentionally drop in, breathe, do the movement practice. Move into alignment on the mat, move your body, be in nature, get around trees, dance, find the well of creation energy within you and nurture it, right? If you're going so external right now, especially like moving in the Gregorian calendar of, you've got to make all these resolutions for New Year's and it's got to, you're creating this timeline where it has to be different without paying attention to what actually wants to transform and needs to go, where the rest of it just automatically manifests and magnetizes in your life. We have learned so deeply to try to find something out there and pull ourselves towards it, and that has caused so much efforting. When we actually work with what's here and what has come up for us, and we transform and transmute those energies from the innate navigation and healers that we are, and when we create that light within our bodies, we create a higher frequency that automatically magnetizes a new and beautiful life to us. So just remember that when we work with the ebb of the astrological weather and the cosmic tides, the flow is so much sweeter. And also remember, there will always be an ebb and flow. That will not change. Now, the frequency that you find yourself in at the ebb will continue to elevate, right? As we move through our own evolutionary acceleration, you don't have to go as deep. You don't have to dig as far down because you've allowed it to come up with every excavation period, with every ebb, with every retrograde season like we've been in, right? So with this Cancer new moon, I really feel like we're working with some soft energies. Capricorn this season feels quite soft to me, and it's allowing us to be a little bit less sensitive, right? Through this Mars retrograde, we could have been very reactive, very intense, and explosive in our reactions and even in our interactions, right? And so hopefully you've been paying attention every time and shifting that a little bit more each time until you keep going in and in and in into the reflection and the mirror that is being held up for you, right? Always remember, it's not about someone else. And if you can transcend that ego response, you can actually find the treasure that's coming through that wants to propel you so much further on the other side. And so I wanted to just highlight Capricorn and Cancer right now, right? Because these are the two areas of our life where we spend the most time, where we care deeply, where we have big triggers come up, and where we're the most involved in our lives. Capricorn is about work, right? It's about our career, and work has taken a big precedence in our life in the way that the old system has been created. Now we are rebirthing new systems in our new Earth rebirth. And as you can see, that has been on the table, right? About how unsupportive and disconnecting and imbalancing and nervous system dysregulating it has been to create a whole life just focused on work. And also Cancer is all about our ancestry, our home. It's about the divine feminine. It's about going internal, receiving, reflecting. It's about our intuitive and innate guidance. It's about our inner healer. And it's really the emotional life foundation that we create. So even if you look at how do you relate to your family can be your friends, your community. When you have that deep connection, but how has that connection been nurtured up until now, right? Has it been in this volatile back and forth and imbalance that we're really getting a deep look at through this 7-month Mars retrograde period in Gemini, in our communication, in our thinking, and how we relate, in our ancestry? Y'all know that we are here to disrupt the lineage patterns. We're here to create the deep spaces of healing and the new environments for epigenetics so that those wounds, those core wounds, those triggers, those patterns do not continue to be passed on physically, energetically, soulfully through our minds, right? Through our thinking, through our learning. So these two energies I find to be really fascinating as we work with them in this full moon. So what is being illuminated in your work life, in your home life, in your family, in your emotional foundation? And how do we move forward in both of these areas from a place of deep knowingness, from our soul's truth? We know what unity consciousness is. It's not just a concept that we can't feel. We now feel what it's like to be in those energies and in that frequency. And then the rest of our life magnetizes from that. And so I know that even though we're still doing the hard work, right? I mean, we're in this retrograde, and it's it's not easy, but we know that life is becoming more easeful by moving into the quiet, by letting ourselves feel the depth of what's surfacing, rather than just pushing forward and, going to the New Year's party and making the resolutions and then judging ourselves and having the inner critic come up when they change, because we change and we evolve. We are not finite. We are gardens. We plant seeds of creation that will either grow or they'll become nutrients for what's coming in next. Right? There's no more keeping ourselves in these hard lines and these learned boxes. And this goes especially to your relationships, to your work life, to your emotional connections. And when you realize that when you do allow time to unfold and unplug in that power, find your pillar of strength, learn the lesson that's coming up for you in this trigger or in this reaction that you're feeling, you bring your mirror up rather than spewing your anger out or your need for validation out. You bring your mirror up, and then you feel a new depth of connection in that relationship, knowing that your relationships can easily evolve and transcend past whatever feels like it's been stuck when you move into that unfolding of higher consciousness in humanity. So that's where we accelerate by transcending time, because when we actually feel like we have to figure something out, we have to get to the bottom of it, we have to feel better right now, and you need to help me make that happen, that's holding ourselves in this this moment of time, and it's holding us in the experience that happened that's already in our past, right? But it keeps taking us back to that, that moment of imprint, that moment of impact in the impasse or the imbalance or the trigger. And then we're not allowing ourselves to be in this now present moment for what wants to come in to support us through the transmutation of that energy. So, I'll tell you just this really quick story. This, what happens in birth. As many of you know, I used to be a childbirth educator, and we can look at birth and basically it mimics life unfolding all around us. It's just in birth, it's really compacted and it happens quite fast. But when in our Western medical motto, we tell women to push, that we make that an automatic, we're actually negating the job of the baby and mom and what they do together innately through life force energy and through their soul language. And we have mom in her linear brain and her left brain in her word language. And we have her thinking. It actually, just by having mom think, changes the way that birth works well, because it changes the beautiful melatonin hormone. There's so much more to say about this, but basically what I want to say is there's so much that we do in the environment that moves a mother towards pushing and makes her believe that she has to push. And when that happens, there's so much that shifts and blocks and restricts and creates tension within the body, which is the opposite of the environment that birth works really, really well in. That when we don't push and when we do not manipulate the environment or the thoughts or the belief system of birth between a mother and a child, birth happens much quicker. Birth happens in the innate way that it was made to happen. And so I'm bringing this story in because it shows that when we create this squeeze and this tension on time, and we're trying to force something to happen to make ourselves feel better without letting ourselves drop into the lesson, the learning, the transformation that's at hand, that's there to actually elevate us and help us move quantum through time, because that soul growth transformation that happened from that experience came for the internal transformation, then the rest of our life does not move on a linear path. It shifts onto an accelerated path that knows no bounds of time. So I don't know. I hope that I weaved you through that a little bit. Obviously, there's so much that I can say about birth, and there's so much more, but I just wanted to highlight that actually when we follow the innate process that birth was made to do, pushing was not actually a part of it. And when we follow the innate process that triggers were made to take us into, which is into our reflection and our internal wisdom and transformation and gratification, right? And balance within ourselves and harmony, we actually accelerate the rest of our life. So I hope that these messages were very supportive for you today. And let's do a quick card read to see what can be of even more support and guidance through this Cancer full moon, and really through the last part of this retrograde. I cannot emphasize this enough for you. Let yourself be slow. Let yourself be quiet. You don't have to make anything happen right now. And actually, if you don't, when the energies pick up and when we move forward very quickly from the end of January all the way up until the end of April, you'll be ready. You'll be rested. You'll be renewed. You will have worked with what is finishing up here, instead of bypassing it and letting it stay and create deeper spaces of impact where it's going to come up in maybe even harder ways in the next ebb or the next retrograde season. So the first card is community. It's going to show that a little bit. And I'm going to bring this back to the Cancer energies in the Cancer full moon. What's being illuminated in your community? What wants to change? What wants to shift? What's kind of, I'm getting this energy of like stagnant in your community that you can transform through the power of your light, through the power of your innate healing and medicine, not through the forced change in interaction. So it's interesting because as I look at this card, every being in this card is separate, right? They're not actually together in this space. So this can also be, you know, as you drop deeper into what your light is shining through right now, what is being illuminated as we move forward, this can also show that you are available for the new souls. It's like I almost see the new souls as these, you see these little light fairies and light orbs behind them. They're just waiting to come through. They're waiting to energize you and create deeper spaces of acceleration. You know, this is interesting because it reminds me of my once a year retreat is coming up in Mexico at the end of the month after all planets go direct, called Awaken Your Fire in Mexico. And it's a very advanced, very accelerated retreat. And it reminds me of what's going to happen at that retreat with these souls coming together and doing the deep spaces of vulnerable healing work that we're going to do together, that's going to, you know, project us into galactic consciousness, into higher consciousness ways of being in the world. And so we are going to move quantum right through that time as we come back in all planets direct. So I'll just let you know there is one space left available, one shared room option. And if you feel like this is something that's calling to you, hit me up. Let's talk about it. I want to make sure that the energies are aligned for both you and the group to finish out this circle, because it is going to be that profound and powerful. And I just want to make sure that if you haven't worked with me before, that you definitely resonate with how quickly and how directly I go in the healing transformation. And so so many. And then the next card is the second chakra, Archangel Ariel. And the second chakra is your sacral chakra. This is your creation energy. This is your divine feminine. This is your life source, right? This is where all is born. And in the retreat experience, I'm a pelvic floor therapist and I do pelvic bowl power. And it's so important that this is the root. And this is why I am taking pelvic bowl power, over the airwaves and into massive like spaces for people to access, because this will move us to where we're going in New Earth so much quicker than if you're still trying, and I say trying to figure out alignment through your mind, through A plus B equals C, you're going to be back here. You want to go forward in that light acceleration, and that's going to come through your innate language, your soul's language, which has been coming on through this Mars and retrograde, which has been helping you to pause and really reorient the way that you interact and you experience and share energy and light out in the world. And this is how we move through the new Earth communication of frequency, of energy, and of light. Like, we do not have to talk the way that we have been talking. We get to move telepathically. We get to move spiritually. We get to move through time and space dimensions. And that's absolutely the access point to that in 2023 is deeper than it's ever been before because of the work that you've been doing. And also especially because Saturn is moving into Pisces and Pluto is moving into Aquarius. Big themes. I'll talk about them on another video. And the final card is the reverse of walking away. And so this is a very personal card, right? And so this is, I always see reverse cards as like retrograde energy cards. So if you are needing to walk away from something, maybe there's some area of your life that you're not supposed to walk away from. Maybe there's something that's coming up that you're meant to put more light and energy into. Maybe there's something that you're letting pass by because of what ifs that wants to be nurtured from your light, from your water, from your nutrients, from your nervous care alignment, right? So feel into that. That was an interesting last card. So feel into that one. And I'm going to end it right there. I feel like those are complete messages. And I hope that this has been so supportive for you. Please let us know in the comments below, how have you been moving through these retrogrades? How are you feeling in the Capricorn and Cancer areas of your life? Are you feeling big transformation as we move towards this full moon? Because the full moon really will illuminate, any last pieces that want to come up. So the deeper you go into reflection with what's being illuminated, the quicker you are going to make permanent change into a higher consciousness way of being. Yes. So thank you so much for joining me today. And if you are still here, I'm stoked that you came through the whole journey with me. Definitely check out the other videos. Come on over to my website at therawandwildhearts.com. And until next time, don't forget to keep looking up.